Welcome back to my little channel. So I wasn't going to put a video on this week because the last campsite we stayed in Croatia, it was just horrid. By the time we got there it was like 3-4 o'clock. I didn't really want to drive any further. We'd been stuck in traffic because there was roadworks. It was a very tiring day, and the last campsite was supposed to be a relax, chill out, ready for our journey home. But this is where things go wrong. We got there and it was a massive campsite. So I walked down to where the pitches were, and there were some premium pitches right on the front which were looking out over the beach, which were gorgeous, but they were all fully booked. Even though one of the pitches was empty the whole time we were there, but I'm not going to get into campsite rules and regulations because they pee me off. Anyway, I walked down there and I thought, oh, I don't like the look of this. The pitches were very muddy, which I knew was going to cause a problem with Jack. I went back to the motorhome. I said to Jenny, and it took me a good 20 minutes, half an hour to walk, probably longer actually. By the time I got back to the motorhome, Jenny was getting a little bit worried where I was. I said, look, I'm not really happy about the campsite. We'll see how it goes. We'll stay here because I'm tired. I don't really want to continue, and we'll go from there. Well, we didn't film much of the campsite at all because it was crap. The pitches were horrible. There was no sun hardly at all. It was very, it was like very woody, a lot of overhanging trees. Anyway, we got onto a nice pitch. The pitches had electric, they had water, they had grey waste. You know, the toilet facilities were lovely and they were very clean. We used the showers. We had a disabled key, so we were using the disabled, or Jenny was using the disabled key, but I didn't bother filming it because it was like a massive, for want of a better way of saying it, it was like a massive Butlins. It would be fine if you had kids, and there was plenty for the kids to do. We did walk up, there was 3 swimming pools. We walked up to one of them and it was so busy, we decided not to go to the pool. But what we did do is we had a couple of meals while we were there. There was 3 restaurants. We ate at 2 of them and the food was lovely. It was superb. We actually had our last meal in Croatia in the restaurant. We're celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary, which is why we always go in June as well. So Jenny's birthday and our wedding anniversary. So we went out at a steak, and the steak was gorgeous. It was fillet steak and it was gorgeous. It was really nice. We sat in the open air restaurant looking out over the sea. We filmed a bit of the sunset, which I'll put on. It was busy, but because we've been having all the hassle with Jack and the air conditioning, we couldn't really leave the motorhome for very long because it was so hot. So we weren't sort of venturing out into the day till sort of 1-2 o'clock because we were staying at the motorhome for as long as possible with Jack. So that was hard. The fatigue had set in. And to be honest with you, we made the decision that we're going home. We just had enough. So we stayed at this campsite. We booked in for 8 days. We stayed there for 4 or 5 days, and then decided we'd leave, giving ourselves a week to get back to Cala. So here we are on our last day.
Thank you.
Of being in Croatia. So we were going to stay for another 2 days, but we decided against it. We're going to leave tomorrow. It's our anniversary on Wednesday, so we're celebrating it tonight. So we're out in the restaurant at the campsite. We've ordered 2 massive steaks, 1 each. and we're going to sit and enjoy and watch the sunset.
Yeah.
And what I'll do in a second is I'll spin the camera around and show you the view that we have while we're having our last meal here. Croatia, to sum it up, it's been amazing. It's been extremely hot, and that's why we're shutting it short, because Jack is struggling so badly. We think he had sunstroke the other day because he was really poorly. So we've managed to buy a couple of fans, have the fans running in the motorhome to keep him cool. But we've made this decision to leave a couple of days earlier. Unfortunately, we can't move the Eurotunnel because we're going back on the train, which is booked for a week on Thursday. So we've got a week and 2 days to drive back. So we're just going to take our time, enjoy the scenery, only do 3 or 4 hours driving a day. Thanks for joining us. So as promised, here's the view that we have from our table on our anniversary meal. And the reason we're wearing sunglasses is because it is still really bright. So hopefully we'll be able to see the sunset. It's 6:30 at the moment and sunset is until 8:30. So we shall see. But if we're still here, we will be filming it. We hope you've enjoyed our journey. So after the decision to go home early, we left the campsite, we drove up through Slovenia and into Italy. We used the non-toll route through Slovenia. We also got diesel in Slovenia. Diesel prices in Slovenia were pretty much the same as Croatia, 162, 165, something like that. But in Croatia and Slovenia, which is different to a lot of other places, every petrol station is the same price. You know, like in the UK, you go to one area, the price is one price. You go to another area, it's a completely different price. In Croatia and Slovenia, every petrol station we saw was the same price. Just a little tip for you there. So we left there, went into Italy. In next week's episode, we stayed on this amazing little airs. We stayed on 2 in Italy actually on the way back through. They're coming up next week. Did a film on one of them. The other one was a working farm, which was really, really special. I'm sorry this video isn't as long as my normal ones, or maybe it's better that it's shorter. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you think when you turn up on a campsite and it's not what you expected. Or not necessarily it's not what you expected, but the hype doesn't relate. Because I'm telling you now, this campsite was was the worst campsite we've ever stayed on in all the years we've been doing this. So we've been doing it for 12 years now, and it was without doubt the worst campsite. The restaurant was superb. The actual campsite, the actual parking areas, the pitches were the worst we've ever stayed on. Tell me what you think in the comments. Anyway, until next week, from me, Jenny and Jack, we'll see you all next week. Ta-ra.